Hey guys, it's Julie from Julie's Designs. In this video, I'm going to show you how to mix my special antiquing concoction so you can make brand new wood look aged. I came up with this when I bought a brand new pair of French pine doors to go in my daughter's nursery. They had two closet doors in the entrance of the room, and I didn't want it to look like she lived in the closet. So we took those down and I had to buy brand new French doors. They were expensive and I was really scared to mess them up. And I wanted them to have this brown, aged, weathered look. I wanted it to be a very matte finish, you know, like it's been sitting outside for a long time. So I had used these products separately and I decided to mix them together and see what would happen. And it ended up being the perfect finish that I wanted. And this is something that I use a lot. You've probably seen me talk about my concoction in other videos. And now I'm going to show you how I make it. And well, let me post, I'm going to put a picture like right here somewhere of what the French doors look like when I first bought them. And then at the end of this video, I'll put some pictures of what they look like now. They are gorgeous. They have held up great. And I didn't, all I did was put my concoction on them. I didn't seal them or put anything on top of them. You can if you want to. I would suggest using maybe like a chalk paint wax, because then that won't change the color too much, but it will protect it. But I just figured, you know, whatever wear and tear came to the doors, then that would just add to the aging effect, but they've been perfectly fine. So what you're going to need to make this is the antiquing wax, the Waverly. You can get it at Walmart, some water, and some olive oil. Hold on 1 minute. I have the baby with me. I'm going to go put her noonie in her mouth. Mommy duties comes first, right? Okay, so we're gonna mix up our concoction. I have it in a mason jar that I labeled antiquing concoction. And what you're gonna do, there's no real measurement. It's kind of just a look that you like. So the more antiquing wax you put in, the darker it's gonna be. And then also the same with any paint, the more coat you put, the darker it's gonna get. So say you put a coat on and it's not quite as dark as you want, you can put another coat on and it'll get darker. So I'm gonna pour some in, and it's always better easier to add more than take away. And then lots of water. It's mostly gonna be water. And then I'm gonna add the olive oil. Now what the olive oil does, I find, is when you put water on wood, it'll kind of roughen it up. You know, it'll make the grain come up and not be as smooth. So if you add the olive oil, I find it kind of conditions the wood and makes it nice and smooth. And also sometimes it'll kind of like make it a little more blotchy, not to where it looks ugly, but to where it looks older. And then we're just gonna mix it up, use a pencil. And you do wanna mix it up in between uses, because that antiquing wax will settle at the bottom when it sits for a little while. You know, if you use it weeks apart or whatever. And of course the olive oil will settle at the top. So you just wanna mix it up before you use it. So this is a brand new piece of wood, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cover it halfway with the antiquing concoction, and then you'll be able to see how it looks. And then I had a friend, actually, she messaged me, and she was building a brand new desk for her son's room. And she wanted to know what to do. And so I told her about this because she wanted, you know, an old weathered look. And I hate using stain. That's another reason I came up with this, because I do not like staining. It's just not something I enjoy doing. I always have to throw my paintbrushes away after, and you know, it's hard to stain without a glossy look. So I just much prefer this. So she did this method, and she said it looked like an old baseball glove. And I was like, is that a good thing? She's like, yes, that's exactly the look I was going for. Just a weathered old baseball look. All right, I think I'm gonna add a little more antiquing wax because it's not getting very dark. This one. I've never measured it out when I made it. I just make it and I figure it out by the look that I want. You know, that's how I roll. It's not dry, but I'm gonna go ahead and add some more. There we go. That's much darker. You can also use this on wood that is already aged. So this is a piece of wood that I have, it's fencing, which is what I use for a lot of my projects. I always sand them down, so you can kind of see the old wood and the new wood coming through. And it also has a gray tint to it. And then when you cut it, you have this side that looks brand new. So if you add this mixture to the part that looks brand new, then it'll blend in more. And if you have a gray tint and you want more of a brown, you just put this on top and it'll darken it a little bit and make it more brown. Now I know there's an effect you can do with steel wool where I think you soak steel wool in water and then you wipe it on wood and it makes it look old. I've never tried that, but just from the pictures I've seen, it looks like it has a little bit more of a gray tint to it, and I don't like my wood to look gray. I prefer more of a brown look to it. So we're gonna let these dry. And then while they dry, I'm gonna show y'all what the antiquing wax does and what the olive oil does if it's by itself. So you can see why I decided to mix these things together, because I didn't like the effect that it used on its own. Now sometimes I'll use the olive oil on my rolling pins, like on the middle part, to kind of condition the wood. Or also it looks good if you have an old piece of wood and you put a little bit of olive oil on it too. That'll kind of give it a cool effect. Let me show you. That'll definitely darken it. So sometimes when I make cutting boards out of old wood, I'll put olive oil on it. Of course, I mean, it's not for people to actually use, it's just for decoration. But putting olive oil on wood definitely gives it a cool effect as well. So I'm gonna put it on this piece so y'all can see on the old piece what olive oil does. And I also use it on my oyster art. I do oyster art, and instead of using shellac or something that's very smelly and toxic, I like to use olive oil. It gives it a great shine. So this is kind of a natural thing you can put on wood, and this also helps seal it. So even though I'm not putting a sealer on top of the wood, when I use this effect, the olive oil helps condition and seal the wood. And I'm going to show you what happens if you just use the antiquing wax by itself. What you do with the antiquing wax is you put it on and then you want to wipe it off. Let me grab a paper towel. and that's the antiquing wax. Now, that definitely ages the wood, but what I don't like about it is that it's very grainy. And I don't want to see the grain that much. I want the grain to be kind of muted out and just have it look more simple, you know, not so busy. So that's just not the look that I wanted. It's still drying, but oh wait, let me show y'all. This is the olive oil. So you can use olive oil too if you want to darken some old wood. It gives it a nice effect. I do use that on its own with old wood. If it's not old, it'll turn it, it'll just kind of darken it. Kind of like it would look if you just put a sealer on it. That's what it'll do to new wood. So that's what it made the antiquing concoction. That's what it made the side look like that was cut. That looked brand new. And then this is the side. I should have left a piece that I didn't do so y'all can see the difference. But it definitely darkened it and it made it more brown. It's not that gray tint anymore. So that looks good. And then this is the brand new piece of wood. So let me show you the difference from the antiquing wax. You see the difference where it's a much more muted look. It's not as grainy. It's just kind of old, flat, and weathered looking. That's the look that I want. So I'm gonna go over the mixture again. You want the antiquing wax. I use the Waverly brand from Walmart. You can get it, it's in the craft section. It's $6 and some change for a jar this size, and this stuff lasts a long time because you only use a little bit. Even if you're antiquing something, you're not going to use a lot of this stuff. And then lots of water. Most of the mixture is going to be water. And then a little bit of olive oil, not too much. You just want enough in there to kind of condition the wood. And then you're gonna you want to put it in a jar and just remember to mix it up every time before you use it to blend all the stuff in together. So that is how I make my new wood look old, or how I make my old wood look even older, or if I want to make it look more brown, I add to it. So you'll see this a lot in my videos. I hope y'all like this tutorial, and if you'd like to see more DIY projects, go ahead and subscribe to my channel.